Hello, 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 and welcome to the Mystic Nerd Squad podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Meyerson, and I am so excited today. I'm ready to jump up and down, but I'm going to reel it in a little bit. You all know, if you've listened before, that I love to geek out on things, and my friend, Kevin Moreau, aka Mr. Mingle, is here today to talk about Ba-Z. And if you've never heard of this before, I want you to pause the podcast, get yourself a beverage, sit down and do nothing else. Just tune in with us if you're listening, or if you can catch it on YouTube, you're going to get some visuals. So I want to let you know that ahead of time. Or if you're like me, listen in your car as you're commuting, as you're running, walking, whatever you're doing, and then come back to this because I think it's going to be really helpful for learning more about ourselves. Now, if you didn't catch the first episode that I recorded with Kevin, I want you to go back and listen to that. I will put that in the show notes, and you can check out our initial conversation. But let's start by hearing Kevin's bio because he's one of my favorite people in the authenticity space of LinkedIn and the world. Kevin Moreau, aka Mr. Mingle, helps atypical people thrive with unconventional strategies. Because why fit in boringly when you can stand out playfully? Blending ancient wisdom, modern tools, and relationship hacks, he turns quirks into strengths. As an Owlistic Growth Catalyst, he helps misfit and trailblazers level up connections, success, and joy on their terms. OMG. There is nothing I'm not excited about in there, Kevin. So welcome and thank you for coming back on.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Kelly, and inviting me again. I'm so thrilled to come again on your show. I love your show. I love your vibe. You're an amazing host, and yeah, really happy to help you discover this absolutely mind-blowing tool that I discovered actually not so long ago called Badger and yeah, and help your listeners, your fans to discover this. Yeah, to me it has been like incredible, and I don't like to abuse of the word, game changer. We hear it all the time. It's like, oh, come on. We can't change the game all the time, right? Every other day, you have a new game changer tool thing. Like, no, that's not right. But to me, really, this one has been a huge shift, especially as you are. I love to understand myself better. I love using tools, exploring tools that allow me to understand myself better and others even better. And this one, he's like the big brother of any tool I've tried, like Enneagram, MBTI, Human Design. I've tried and loved all these tools, but Badger to me is like incredibly higher on the potential and possibilities.
I love that. And so tell us just a little bit about it. How long has it been around? Because I think part of this, at least from my very basic understanding, is this is an Eastern tradition. So this has been around for a very long time. And at least at my very basic understanding, we have some elements. It seems very much in the natural world. So where does it originally come from? Do we know how it first began?
Absolutely. So I love you got it absolutely right. So it's coming from ancient China. It was developed more than 2,000 years ago by Taoists. People like you probably have heard at least one of them called Lao Tzu. He's the most famous. And Lao Tzu and his friends, they were obsessed with understanding how our universe works, much like the Greeks. The Greek philosophers tried to do that with their own methods and their own research. So these Taoists really try to make sense of this universe and how to really understand how it works and make it work at best, really to serve their needs and desires at best. And And really, yeah, they identified, they especially observed seasons and stars, and all of that very scientifically. And they summed it up in five different elements and two polarities. So it's slightly different from our elements in the West. In the West, traditionally, we use four elements, right? We use earth, water, air, and fire. So they don't have air, and instead they have metal and wood, which makes a very different vibe, but the three others are the same. So you won't be completely lost. Plus, they use two polarities, yin and yang. And you've heard about that. You've seen, this weird-looking symbol of two waves intersecting somewhat. So this comes from this ancient Taoist. And yeah, so Badze actually has many siblings. I'm pretty sure you've heard about some other practices that are based on the same system, like Feng Shui, like Tai Chi, Qigong, I Ching. All these different practices, they are also from Taoism, and they use the same core principle with the elements and the polarities. So in a nutshell.
Oh, very cool. Well, and I love some of those. Feng Shui is such a great way to organize your space for maximizing energy. As is Qigong, which is such a great pattern of exercises and breathing and meditation all combined. And Tai Chi as well. They're not just movement exercises. They're also about cultivating your energy, your strength, your connectedness. So I love that. That sounds super cool. So how did you learn about it? Where did it show up in your life for you?
So just before we get there, actually, I want to give you a very exciting news. If you enjoy Feng Shui and Qigong or Tai Chi, actually by understanding better and understanding your own better chart, you will get much better at all those other practices.
Mm.
It will be like if you level up in math, you will become even better at physics. It's not the same, right? But they are close enough that you can use some of your knowledge for the other. And really, Badze allows you to understand yourself much better, and also how you can connect with other elements. So Qigong will allow you to balance and harmonize better your own energies. Feng Shui, the energies surrounding you and really getting what you need more easily, etc. So it can be very powerful. So if you're already into those, you're gonna love that.
I'm pretty sure I'm already there. So we have a
So
really,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say we have a really fun plan. So as Kevin and I were preparing for this podcast episode, and of course we all want to learn about this, and Kevin offered to me, "Hey, have you really like dove into your chart?" And I said, yeah, it didn't make much sense to me. And so we came up with the idea of rather than just talk about it broadly, Kevin offered to take a look at my chart and take us through the process of learning about your chart. So I'm going to be learning about this at the same time that you are a listener. So we get to have that beginner's mindset. And I am like a kid in a candy store, like Christmas is coming. I am so excited. Where should we start, Kevin?
All right. So very first, we will start with me sharing my screen and allowing you to see your chart. So I sent you another version, and actually, so you know this software I use to plot the charts. Now, this tool is amazing. This platform is amazing. But to me, like the design is not, let's say, my favorite. So I prefer use it my way. So it takes a little extra time, but I prefer to present it that way. To me, it's really the most convenient. So we really can see all the colors. That's the thing. Every single element, they are linked to colors, to many different things. And yeah, and before we begin, do you have any question? I'm pretty sure you have like dozens of questions already, but do you have like one big question before
I
we begin?
I don't think so. I love your use of a chart. I love an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets. So I'm already geeking out on that. But
Perfect.
yeah, I think just dive in. Where do we start?
Okay, so yeah, and that's the thing. So navigating on your own is extremely challenging. It's a massive rabbit hole with plenty of tiny mini rabbit holes inside. Like it's ridiculously deep and thorough. So if anyone is interested, you better have a guide to bring you along. You can go. I mean, if you want to go Indiana Jones and go head on, I guess just probably it will be tough and prepare to ingest hours and hours of content before you have at least a little bit of understanding. So just a fair warning, it's not easy to really understand easily how it works. I will make my very best to make it as simple and as clear as possible. So Kelly, you will be my kind of my watchdog of sort. Like if you feel I'm going too much into details, I count on you to kind of slap me on the wrist that get back to being concise and efficient, please. So it will be a teamwork effort here.
Perfect.
And so very first, okay, I will actually hide part of it. I really wanted to make it as simple as possible for now. So I will actually hide so basically the way I like to present it, there are plenty of tabs I can open, plenty of hidden drawers of sorts. But basically, and I will remove that now. Basically, this is your chart. This represents your Badger chart, the way I prefer to put it. So with a lot of colors, so it stands out more. And one of the reasons why I love Badger so much is it acknowledges that we don't have one personality. We don't have like one tone, one flavor. We are many. We are legion. We have different facets. And some people might be like, absolutely not. I am absolutely congruent. I am whole. I feel like I am very simple, very authentic, etc. Sure, or you might feel like that, but I'm pretty sure you at least you've experienced other people. You meet them at first. They have a certain vibe. They appear in a certain way. Then you walk with them. They actually are quite different. They might show up maybe more bossy, more difficult, or actually more pleasing, more relaxed at work, actually, than in a social setting. Then imagine you start to date them and have a love relationship with them. They might show a very different face altogether. They might be super cuddling and super loving in the intimacy, which you never could have imagined in a social relationship, etc. So actually, we have different, what some people call faces or masks, but actually, to me, they are real facets. Some people, yes, are pretending, of course, but I feel it's really a way to see the complexity of us. We are complex creatures, and Badzer actually is exceptional to allow us to see that, to understand that, to work on that if we want. So I wanted to set the ground about that. So Badzer is also called the four pillars of destiny. So if you can see, four different columns, and all these columns they tell a different story, and they all show kind of different strong facet of you or set of facets, let's say. And imagine if you were an orchestra like you would have many different instruments playing, right? Like if you're a rock fan, you would have the drums, the guitar, the bass, the singer. You would have all these different instruments. But there is one that is even more important. In a classic orchestra, it would be the conductor. In a rock band, it would be the leader. And so this very important element is this one, like right. So it's the pillar of your day, the day you were born. So, I call this pillar personal pillar, and really this element represents the most your core you. It's like your main personality. But all the other personalities, they are true, they still exist. They are still very important in you. Um, so far, do you have any questions? Anything you'd like to add?
So, so mine would be I was born on the 28th. So the the core of me are those items that fall the wood, metal, water, earth. Um, Underneath
Yeah.
that are the core of my personality. Maybe like
So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
And so really it's your core pillar, but actually the most, I will show you what I've hid earlier. So this one is called the day master, and it's the conductor I've mentioned before. So the entire pillar is even more you than the other pillars. But this
Mhm.
specific element, the yang wood, so I note plus for yang and minus for yin. Um, so this yang wood is really like your main tone. It's really the core of your personality. And this is very important. Like you absolutely need to understand that to make sense of the rest of your chart. And actually, it's one of the reasons why if you taken some interests in Chinese culture, in Chinese traditions, you might have explored your zodiac sign. And the thing is, actually, your zodiac sign is here. So it's dragon. Your sign is dragon, right? In China. But
Mhm.
actually, you see, it's just this one element in the middle of all these other elements. So how could you define your personality when you have so many others and actually the core of your personality is this one? I don't know if it makes sense, but so actually you have some dragon, earth dragon. Actually, it is a fire dragon in this case, but you have dragon in you. But your purest energy, let's say, is young wood. And like the symbol of that is like an oak tree, a very strong, very sturdy, very reliable oak tree with deep roots and a single trunk. And I would assume when you discovered something you're interested in, you go all in and you want to know everything. You want to master it. You want to become an absolute kahuna boss in this topic. You want to be like one of the top experts in that. You might at some point decide, hey, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do that. It's taking too long. But you would have probably this kind of first intention. I want to nail that down. I want to really understand all the nuts and bolts and that makes it work. Am I correct so far?
So right. And I think what's really cool is I've always gravitated towards trees, imagery of trees, being in the forest. When I went to Sequoia National Park a couple years ago and was in the sequoia, I felt home. Like I felt at home with those giant trees, like they were living beings, and I knew them. I know it sounds that's a little wild and woo and out there, but I've always felt connected to trees. I feel their personalities. So that to me is super cool. Yeah.
I love that. And so basically, it's exactly what Badzo is telling me and now telling you is that at your core, you are tree, you have a very strong tree energy. Basically, you have kind of sap running through your veins in a way. So it makes sense that you would connect strongly with trees. But once again, like you have a lot, actually, you don't just have this day master, but you can see there are several other anchor points or entry points of wood energy and young wood energy in you. So you have a strong enough wood energy altogether. So yeah, you have a lot of this very vegetal type of energy and a very specific type. And just to give an example for how it can show up differently, I find the very best way to look at it is more with the creativity. Usually, so young wood, they tend to be masters at something. They will tend to dedicate years and years and years to study one topic and one topic only until they are absolute masters at it. When the other polarity, yin wood, so instead of being like a strong, majestuous tree, it's more like white flowers or meadow grass. They still grow, it's still very expansive energy, but they grow horizontally. They don't grow vertically. So it's typically your ADHD energy, where you connect multiple topics. You are very multi-passionate. You kind of a jack of all trades type of energy. You want to know everything at once, but you won't dedicate as much time to all of them, right? So, and then you might have the ability to connect them together and kind of create sort of Frankenstein creatures, out of that. And it's a very different type of energy. Still wood, but a very, very different type of wood energy.
Very cool. Okay, I'm in. What's next?
So, yeah. So now I know, look, we have to be respectful of everybody's time, starting with our own. So I know we won't have the possibility to dive in for like 3 hours or more. So I will give you a very, very brief overview. And as soon as possible, I want to answer your question because actually, so Badzo is amazing at having a broad kind of bird's eye view of your personality and how you tick in a way, how you function, and how you to make you function even better. But the very best way to leverage Badzo is with one specific question. And by following this specific question, you can really make sense of it. You can actually understand, oh, this is why, like the dynamic of energy, it works in this way. So it's what we will try to accomplish here to really figure out and explore your question.
Oh, I love
but
that.
before we get there, so just want to give you a quick overview, two things. So very first, so these 4 different pillars. So I've mentioned the personal pillar. And to be clear, so these I've renamed them hoping it will be more easy to understand because traditionally it's just like you have the year pillar. So it's Chinese, right? So it's written from right to left. So it's your year pillar, your month pillar, your hour pillar, and your day pillar and your hour pillar. And like same, these are my names. Usually, traditionally, it's heavenly stems, earthly branches, hidden stems, which for most people doesn't make any sense and doesn't mean anything. So I feel it's a little more clear that way, hopefully. But anyway, so let's go with these pillars. So very first, the one I call social pillar, so the one of the year, it represents your earliest influences in life and like your ancestors, everything that came before you, basically. And also all your social capabilities and tendencies. The way you tend to behave socially will show up in this one. The second one, so the career pillar, it represents really your career drive, the way you tend to show up at work, and also the way you tend to face challenges. And especially there will be a very strong connection, a very strong interaction between your day master that I've mentioned earlier, and this one, so it's called the commander, and these two, like the dynamic will be extremely, extremely important. And I will explain a little more later with a, I will show you. It will make more sense with a visual. And then the personal, it really represents you at your core, and especially you in the intimacy. When you're chilling at home, nobody's watching, it would be like how you tend to behave when you're just without anybody else, or with your loved one, with your partner. It will really, and actually extremely powerful. So this element is called the spouse palace. And this represents your partner in general, energetically. And the dynamic between both tends to be brought subconsciously. It's what the type of dynamic you tend to create in your love relationships. So understanding that is extremely powerful. So it's not in your question, but we will see. Maybe if we have extra time, maybe you would be interested in exploring that. It also tends to represent, your very close friends, people that are kind of blood to you, even closer to your real siblings or something like that. They might be more connected to this pillar than the social pillar. Actually, they are so close to you that actually they become you in energetically. And finally, one of the probably the most fascinating, this one I call legacy. And it's kind of a big box of surprises and treasures. And it's kind of everything that comes after you. Basically, it's everything that you create, everything that you leave behind you, or the traces and marks and legacies you will leave in this world. So your children will be in this pillar. And it's also a projection of yourself. It's also kind of, who do I want to be when I grow up? It's also who you aspire to be, your secret garden, your aspirations, dreams, etc. So it's it's a very complex one, and especially it's super interesting to compare those two, the personal pillar and the legacy pillar. Sometimes there are very interesting dynamics, so that they can explain a lot of things. So this was the first kind of overview of the 4 different pillars: social, career, personal, and legacy. I want to mention another thing I love very much, but do you have any questions about what I just shared?
No, I'm just excited. Tell me more. Yep. I'm ready.
So what I call the hidden potentials is probably one of the most exciting parts of Badze. I love this part very, very much. And these are really like energy that are not so easy to access. Like those top 8. So yeah, I will remove that so it's clearer. These top 8, they are really like your core energy, the most potent in you, the most visible, and the most easy to access. All these are also present in you, but they would be like hidden treasures, right? Like a pirate king would bury their treasures, in a deserted island. They would have that kind of vibe. So oftentimes we need to find the map, to find that cross, on the map and know where to dig. Usually they don't come as easily, but they're still there. So usually actually you can feel their influence subconsciously. They are ever present to you. They were present at your birth and they always follow you, but you might not really notice that. It might be kind of a very evanescent feeling. The one thing though is most people tend to be better at accessing them after 40. It's kind of late blooming skills, late blooming potentials. Some people are able to kind of uncover them, unleash them earlier, and especially if you understand that, like imagine, I will show you. Imagine you lived your life with only that, apparently, and suddenly, boom, you have all of that. All of a sudden, you can play with. Like, it's Christmas, right? Suddenly, you're like, oh, wow, what's going on? You have plenty of new types of energies to play with, plenty of new skills and talents. You actually always had at least as potentials. And suddenly you are able to really tap into them much more easily, or get them to the next level. So yeah, that part I love very, very much, the hidden potentials.
Super cool.
All right. Still no questions? Still no comments?
No, keep going.
Okay,
so
so
neat.
now actually, we will start to explore your specific question. And first, I would like you to actually state this question, and we will dig a little bit deeper.
Okay. So I decided to go with a question related to career. I'm getting ready to release a beta course called Vision to Voice. It's to empower women to feel more safe in embracing their authentic self and being seen and heard and leading world-changing missions, even if it's just with their family or their community or the whole world, as big as they want it to be, but to really take them from understanding themselves at a very deep level to being able to embrace that and speak on whatever stage works for them. So I think my question was, how do I capitalize on my design according to Baza and use it to design how I move forward? Does that phrase it well enough? Does that make sense?
I feel it. Yeah, I feel it's pretty good. So I'm just wondering. So if you're asking this question, you feel whatever you're working on right now, it's not working as well as you'd like, or you feel you could go even deeper, even farther, or there are some pieces that are still kind of unclear or not working as you'd like, or you might feel a little bit of doubt or something like that. So what is not working as well as you'd like?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would love to capitalize as much as possible on my own strengths so that the individuals that participate are getting the best of me so that we can really take the 10 weeks that we work together and make them so deep and so rich so that when they come out, they are just like spring loaded and heading into the world. So I want it to be the best it can be. And if I can find some little gems that really help me tune into one part or another, I think that would be helpful. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Okay, so let's explore that. I love that idea. It makes a lot of sense, and actually, yeah. Let's see. So now it's time to show you a little more, and to help you make more sense. So this is how your chart is being like it's kind of the proportions of each element. And yes, it doesn't appear right, because actually there is a ponderation. I will spare you the details, but there are some complex calculation to come up with that. And this is how your chart is laid out. And very first, good for you. You have your chart is or rather your day master is considered strong, from Chinese perspective. I prefer you saying in command. So it means actually, remember I mentioned that commander and that the dynamic between, no, sorry, this one. The dynamic between the commander and the daymaster is very important in the way you tend to face challenges, to handle challenges, not just for your career drive. So, and this, to really understand how it works, this is why I shared with you a small image, with the 5 elements and arrows, basically, there are 2 very important cycles to understand, so you can get the very best out of that, so to fully understand how it works and really make it work for you. There is one that is called the creation cycle. And basically, every element creates another. And this works quite organically. It's quite easy to understand. So I will start with the wood. So this is your core element. Wood nurtures fire, right? This one should be quite easy to see, right? You put a log in your fire, it will be devoured by the flames. Wood feeds and nurtures fire. Fire nurtures earth. It will turn into ashes and create earth. Then earth will turn into metal. It will condense and create nuggets of metal. Finally, metal will melt into water. And water will nurture wood, right? The rain on your crops or your plants will nurture them. So this is the first cycle. There is another cycle that is very important to understand. It's the other way around. It's the controlling cycle. And the best way for me to explain that is to use the analogy of a car. The creation cycle is like the accelerator on a car, and the control cycle is like the brakes on a car. And actually, you need both. If you have only accelerator, you probably won't end up too well. You might get in big trouble. But if you have only brakes, you will go nowhere. So you need not necessarily a balance of both, but at least a harmony of both, and knowing when to push on the accelerator, when to push on the brakes. That is if you do it intentionally. Most of us, we don't. We just follow our life and just are being, influenced by all these energies, both inside of us and outside of us. So why am I explaining all of that? Because so your commander is water, and water nurtures wood, which great news for you. Actually, it means that you are helped to face challenges, to go through life. And I would assume if something comes your way, you tend to more like see it as a puzzle to solve or something stimulating. Or you might clench your teeth, but you might be like, hey, I got this. I went through harder. That's okay. I will beat this one once again. I'm good. Other people might not. Other people might more fold facing challenges, or even crumble facing challenges, or being destroyed by challenges over and over again. So you being in command is pretty helpful. The one that I mentioned is called out of command. It comes with plenty of upsides as well. There are better types of chart than others, but actually, to me, all of them have upsides and downsides. So don't get too excited if you are supposedly the best type of charts. Actually, some extremely successful people have out of command charts. They were able to transform the pain, transform all the challenges into something beautiful. It came with a price. It didn't come easy to them, but they were able to really alchemize themselves and then alchemize situations in a way. See, I'm quoting myself and going a little bit off track. So I'm getting back. So just very important, actually. It will be a very interesting question. That one probably you didn't think about it, about this beta version you want to this beta course or beta program you want to launch, it's something that will give light. You will understand why. Yeah, actually, I will ask you right now. What is the purpose of this course, this beta course or this beta program? What is your core intention? Is it to make money? Is it to create a legacy or really like to change the world? Is it to change yourself? Is it, what's behind, what is the why behind the why? What is the deep reason behind launching this course?
To change the world, to allow other women to use their voice and for that to change the world. So definitely not about the financial gains, more about how humanity benefits from them being willing to share what they know, to inspire others, and to be who they are in the world.
Love it. So yeah, really from a higher place. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with wishing to make money out of something, right? There is like we live in a world run by money. Money is the most let's say useful physical resource we can have at our hands. So to me, there is absolutely nothing wrong, nothing evil about money at all. But I feel it's even better that you come with a higher purpose in mind and in heart. And actually, what is kind of funny is most probably, very naturally, you will get money out of it. I will explain why. So yeah, for now, I don't have to explain the other cycle I mentioned, but that a creation cycle, so I believe it's quite clear. Wood creates fire, fire creates earth, right? So for you, fire really represents output energy, what you put out in the world, really all your kind of creations, your creativity, your productions, basically, they will mainly be linked to that, and also legacy. Like that legacy pillar, it's also once again what you really want to leave behind you. And actually, in your case, it's quite convenient because you have quite a good amount of fire in your legacy pillar. So it's kind of reinforcing that, the connection that. And so because your core element is wood, you naturally nurture fire. So you will tend to spend energy for that. It won't come necessarily easy. It will require some effort. It will require kind of a price, an energetic price for you to pay. But it will actually, in your case, quite probably feel very natural and actually probably feeling very relieving in a way. Because once again, like you are in command, so your accelerator works actually too well. So it's good for you to express your energy, to let go of some energy because you have too much actually. So it's pretty good for you to put it in good use, if you see what I mean. Rather than receiving it and recharge you, it's more like, no, I need to express all this extra energy. Once again, you're like a tree. You need to do something with all this extra sap. You need to create new branches, new leaves, new fruits. Otherwise, you would just kind of explode with so much energy in you. So you need to create. You really need to do that. And plus, what is very interesting. So once again, for you, it's not the case for everyone. So for you, because you are wood, fire is your output energy, and earth is your wealth energy. And so naturally, wood nurtures fire, and fire naturally nurtures earth. Everything is working well naturally. It will just turn very naturally. Your creations will allow you to access wealth. Wealth, just a quick parenthesis, it's not necessarily money. It depends what wealth is to you. For many people, especially like scholars type of people, knowledge is wealth. So it might not bring you any money concretely, but you might feel wiser. You might feel, with more knowledge, more understanding, which to you is very valuable. If you deeply value experiences, it could be that as well. So it depends really what are your core values and what you are kind of chasing or pursuing in this world. Let me take a pause. Do you have any questions so far?
No questions. It's just fascinating.
I see we're almost at the top of the hour already. I see there are two things. What could be the most useful to you? So very first, so I don't know if what I mentioned really helped you with your specific question. Do you see how you can do that? Actually, I have ideas how to help you do that. But I'm very curious to know what you're making out of this so far. What would be your main takeaways so far?
I think understanding that piece of, the element of wood, that strength, being in command, that makes a lot of sense to me. And that the output is the natural result of that. I feel that I have so much that I feel the compelled to share, compelled to help with. That it's like I can't just sit on my hands and do nothing. That's never going to be what I do. And that moving into wealth, I think for me, it's also making a difference, seeing other people succeed. To me, that is more what I receive in as a result that feels meaningful to me. So having meaning, doing work that matters, making the world a better place for people, that is really what it is at the heart of things for me. So when I see that happening, when I know I've been part of helping somebody on their journey and it's been a positive experience for them, I feel, that's what I get back, that feeling of being helpful, of being kind, and of really moving the needle of goodness in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to give you like concrete example because so far it has been very abstract, right? And I know some people might be very comfortable with juggling with abstract concepts. Other people not so much. And so I feel you mentioned really you wanted to capitalize on your own strength. And especially based on the goal you have with this course, I feel one of the things, so like the two main components linked to your question that I really can see is, of course, this young wood and your capability to really focus very powerfully on one topic and being extremely, extremely good at one topic specifically. And also young fire. I need to explain to you a little bit more. Young fire is the sun energy. It's an extremely potent type of energy. And it's the energy of superstars. It's the energy of people filling entire stadiums, like Mick Jagger or Taylor Swift type of energy. The people that are kind of walking suns, and they will naturally attract other people. And so you have quite a good amount, and I feel it makes a lot of sense for you to tap into that. So it's something you already are doing naturally. But and what is super interesting, super helpful is to see where does these energies show up in my chart. And you can see it as a kind of control board with sockets and plugs in a way. And every element, there are both potential sockets or plugs. It's where you can most easily get energy to you, get energy in, or express energy out. And in your case, you can see actually fire, it's not in your career, it's not in your personal pillar, and it's really like social, it's pretty high, it's really at an important place, and in legacy, especially like fire is extremely potent for you, especially when you look forward, you look at the future. There is a lot of that. So I feel something very powerful would be to tap into that. Very first, it means probably you don't want to stick to one or one to few. Like your real power is exactly what you're doing with your podcast, is speaking to the crowds, to speaking to big groups, and showing, inspiring others to do the same, to show up powerfully in front of the crowd, yet knowing that not everybody has the same abilities. Not everybody has the same natural knack at doing that. Some people might be very hesitant to step, into that. Maybe because it's still kind of an innate power they never really try to play with, or maybe they have actually the other energy. Like, to give you an example, these two elements for me, they are yin fire, so the other fire, and it's the candle type of fire. So it's more cozy, more intimate. So my true power is into one-to-one and one-to-few. It's when I shine the brightest, when it's darker. You are meant to shine when it's the full day, when it's when you're shining the brightest, really attracting a lot of people. So I feel there is something very, very strong in you. You're supposed to talk to crowds. You probably it would be healthy to you because you don't have any of this candle fire. And I know you can be very good at one-to-one as well in your own way, but you probably could kind of develop that even more. But right now, especially for this course, I feel like tap into your young fire. Go millions, go at least thousands for starters, and yeah, talk to crowds. I feel it's the most powerful.
I love that. I love speaking to large groups. That's one of my favorite things. There's nothing like that. I feel, a lot of people are terrified of public speaking, getting it. I love it. I love being up there. I love feeling the energy of everybody and, trying to guide all of them at once and help recognize all those connections between us. And yeah, so that makes total sense to me. Yeah. It's a good confirmation, I think, to know that is my inclination. Yeah.
Yeah, you're built for this. It's something you're natural at it. You're built for this. And yeah, to me, I had to challenge. I have it, but as a hidden potential. It took me forever to be able to own it, and I'm still always much more confident in smaller settings. Big settings, I'm still like, ooh, I'm still sweating, and that's right. It will be a fight for me until the end probably. Yeah, it makes sense that it will come easy. Just want to finish on something, adding something quite important. This represents your chart. So it's really like your internal energies. Guess what? You're not just by yourself in this gigantic universe. Like everybody around you matters and kind of are adding their own energy to the mix. And especially the time is very important. Like we've just entered a new year, so the year of the snake, which will bring more fire, which on paper sounds like a good news for you, but actually it will be a very unstable type of fire, very volatile type of fire. So there are ways to harness that energy in better ways, but it could be actually too hot to handle for many people. Even people that actually are thriving with fire, it might be too much. And there are many other things like every month, every day, every hour, even they will actually change or add new energies. It kind of the cards. I love comparing it with a hand of cards, like well, a deck of cards. Your deck of cards is ever shuffled over, and you have new cards in your deck, and sometimes you're suddenly boom. So sometimes you wake up one morning and you feel beat, and you don't know why. Some other people, you feel like you're the king or the queen of the world and nothing can stop you, right? So it's the kind of thing you might have other ways to explain that, but if you start to track what's going on and how this specific day or month is influencing you, you can see very, very powerful results. And you can schedule. If you've noticed, hey, you know what? In fire days, I tend to be even better. I tend to increase my visibility and leadership. So whenever I schedule a call, whenever I schedule a sales call or like today a podcast call, I will choose if I can a fire day. So there are plenty of other ways to do that. Same like if you need more, let's say you need more wood in your life, connect with wood people, very creative people. It will bring more wood, etc. So we could speak for hours about that, but I know it will be time to wrap up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So, what you were just talking about, so there is a sense of the elements day by day, and it's always shifting. And did you say it can also shift hour by hour? So, like a time of the day might be what more one element versus another.
So the good news is actually in the same way, each element nurtures each other. Actually, we can. I will show you actually. I'm pretty sure some people will take screenshots. I'm happy to. I will show you a tool I will stop this share. I will show you a tool I developed for my clients. Give me 1 second, because that's the thing. Actually, it doesn't happen randomly.
Mm.
You can predict very easily how it will show up. I believe it will be this one. Oh, no. Give me 1 second. I have so many tabs open. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's this one. Okay. So I will show you that. So it's still a work in progress, but it's extremely, extremely useful. You will see. So it's a tool I've created recently for my clients. And
Hmm.
with that, you can see what every single first, the energies of this current year, and the energy of every single month, every single day, and also every single hour. You can predict that. And there is also another thing called the luck pillar, which is even more potent than the yearly energy. And basically, like the rule of thumb to know, like from the least important, the least impactful, from the most impactful. The least impactful is hours, then days, then month, then years, then luck pillars because they are 10 years, and then your chart because let's say it's 100 years, right? So it's from the smallest unit to the biggest unit. And the bigger the unit, the most impactful it is. So your chart is the most important one for you. Then your luck pillar, then the year, the month, the day, and the hour.
Oh, that's so cool.
And So, and basically just for example, today, so it's a young Earth day. And actually, ideally, I would put also all the animals because they matter. Yeah, there is something like in your chart. All of us, we have two. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into details because there are the elements on one side and the animals on another side, and it's not exactly the same pattern. But to make it clear, actually, because it's not the same pattern, there are always two animals missing for each of us. Two animals are kind of lost, poor lovely ones. They're kind of left aside, and they are unstable compared to the others. And each of us, we have two animals that are unsteady. And knowing which one are unsteady can explain so very much. It's extremely helpful to know. It means like if sometimes actually it's a good thing that they are unsteady. It means something you're actually better performing when the animal is not here, and when it shows up, it just explodes everything. Or and other people, it's the other way around. When actually they are on a day of this animal or month of this animal, they will feel whole. They will finally feel entirely good, and everything will go smoothly. So I feel I'm already going too much into details, but that's just to give you a kind of idea. There are plenty of ways to play with this tool. It's incredible.
This is awesome. I think that was a great place to go because I think now for anyone whose interest is piqued, I did want to ask you, did you create the whole Google sheet with the formulas and how it all went together?
Yeah,
You made that?
yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh, that's amazing. How did you even know how to go there? You
So
know?
actually, so I will show you. So yeah, it should be that one. I'm using there are many bad calculators out there. So the one I use, it's this one. I will show you. So it's called Chinese Metasoft.
Mhm.
So I use a paid version, but you can easily most of what I'm using is actually available in the free version. So really don't bother unless you really want to become a professional at that. But don't bother investing in a paid version. The free version is already great, and as you can see, and even one is a little bit looking better than the free version. To me, it's not, especially like the hidden stems, also the hidden potentials, can really see them. It doesn't explain, what element it is. So unless you read Chinese, Mandarin, so yeah, you probably I feel it's much easier to create my own. So yeah, I took the extra time, and you can see there are plenty of information. See, that wheel, you have, that strong, you have 10 aspects, it's an entire word altogether. You have auxiliary stars, they provide tons of information as well. Like this is gigantic.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the luck pillars I've mentioned, see these cycles of 10 years, you have access over of that.
Wow.
So you have plenty of toys to play with this, and just with a free version, you have kind of the same, and you can see like those death. Yeah, the word is very the wording sounds really awful. These two animals that I mentioned that are missing, it's called death and emptiness, or void, or double X. And these are the two elements that are missing in your charts. So in your case, it's the horse and the goat. And it would be very useful to you to check what's going on. So for example, right now, so since November 2023, you entered a new cycle. And actually with the horse. So maybe for the past year and so or so, you might have felt a shift to some degree. So and yeah, there are plenty of things, positive or negative. You can learn so much, so much. So once again, I will just shut up because I could do 4 hours, but it's extremely convenient, a very powerful tool.
I love this. I think this is such a great way for people to start to understand how to find their chart. So we'll make sure that we put in the show notes the link to Chinese Metasoft so that you can get your own chart done, take a look at it. But if someone would love to do what you did with me and have you take them through, is that something that you're offering people right now? How can they connect with
No,
you?
absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, no, I will be happy to share my scheduling link as well. So right now, actually, I will. So I have another job. So I will kind of shift or rather switch hats. I will start my season as a tour director. I will be accompanying English-speaking high schoolers in Europe, and most of them like from the US or Canada, and then they will be discovering Europe, most of them for the very first time. So I will do that for a season. So I will be less available, but still, like absolutely, I would love to guide you through a bad adventure if you're interested. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I love that. And we'll link everything in the show notes. This has been so cool because I was personally feeling a little overwhelmed. I had run my chart and I got lost. So thank you for helping me kind of read through all of it, understand the framework. Now I think I'm starting to understand the framework a little bit and how things are shifting. And I have a lot of research to do, which is cool. I love to be in that place of, highly interested in deep diving into this. So I want to thank you so much for being here, listener or viewer. Thank you for listening. If you did catch the podcast on Apple or Spotify and you want to go and check it out, you can also see this on YouTube. So I will put the YouTube link in the show notes as well, writing myself a little note to do that. Because I think it's helpful also to be able to see the beautiful charts and graphs that Kevin was sharing with us. And I would love to see you all again. Please stay tuned. I will absolutely have Kevin come back on to talk about this more and to share what he's up to in the world. He and I both believe in supporting people in living authentically, being who they are, and embracing that and finding belonging. So I also encourage you, if you haven't already, go back and listen to the last episode that Kevin and I did together. I will also put that in the show notes. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening and viewing, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Take care and stay curious.